Shalom Aleichem Mishpacha. Welcome to Qol Elohim. My name is Malcha Devorah Bat Yah. I'm a member of the Nation of Yisrael at Camp Beth Yahweh in Baltimore, Maryland. I'm really excited to be with you guys today. We're starting a new Bible study series with our audience being focused on women, believing women in the Nation of Yisrael, as well as any other woman out there who seeks and desires to know the ways of the Most High. There is a spirit in the world today among the camps of the Hebrew Israelites, and that's a spirit, a very positive spirit of unification. And that is something that is near and dear, I believe, to every true believer. We all hope and dream to see the day when Yisrael will become one nation and not be among the divided camps that we see throughout the world today. There's a spirit of unification. There's a work that needs to be done in this world, the salvation of man. But before we can begin to do this mission on a worldwide scale, Yisrael as a nation needs to become as one. The scriptures talk, how can two walk lest they agree? We must be in agreement on the basic tenets of this faith that we call to be our walk. There can't be any division in our doctrines as far as how we are interpreting and understanding Torah. Now, mind you, there may be some camps that might be a little further on the road on this journey with Yahweh and might have better understandings on certain things, as well. There might be other younger members in the camps that are not where we are. But as long as we are all on that same road of understanding Torah, we can always learn and grow together. And that's the key. Are we willing to unite and learn and grow together so that our Father in heaven is glorified? As women, sometimes we might think that our job in this restoration is limited to being a wife and a mother and being a sister. And these things are nothing to be ashamed of. But we do have a calling. We do have a part to play in this work, in this unification work, in this restoration work, in this salvation work. Yes, women, we can do certain things. Our first and most important calling is always to be a daughter of the Most High. And if you're blessed enough to have a husband, that is then your most important calling. So even as you try to do this work for the ministry, or this becomes a ministry, if you call it that, or just becomes your work for the Almighty, it has to be in balance with what it is that your husband has allowed you to participate in. We don't want to do anything that's going to disrupt the homes or bring any kind of confusion to our homes. When we think of Torah, we tend to automatically think of, maybe some of us might say, the first 5 books of Moshe or the law, or some people include the entire Tanakh as Torah. But one day I was meditating on the Torah, and I really just wanted to understand, what was it that Yah has given us? What is this thing called the Torah? And what he showed me basically is that the Torah is a vehicle of communication between him and us. In the Torah, when we glean through our studies, we can actually see and find the character of who the Most High is. And as a believer, that is what we are supposed to be doing, developing ourselves into the character of the Most High. In one of our studies, we're going to look at the creation of male and female, Adam and Hawa. And when Yah first started to make man, he said, let us make man in our image and in our likeness. So there is something that we're supposed to resemble that is in the Most High, that we need to find out what it is. Then we can include these things in our daily lives. There's a law that was given to Yisrael that was written in, let's turn in our scriptures real quick to Vayikra, book of Leviticus, chapter 19, and we're going to start at verse 15. And the scripture reads, "You shall do no unrighteousness," excuse me, "you shall do no unrighteousness in judgment. You shall not respect the person of the poor, nor honor the person of the mighty, but in righteousness shall you judge your neighbor." Now, this is a very straightforward command or direction for the Israelite as they set up their court system, basically. But if we look at the Torah as Yahweh being hidden in it, and there is layers or garments to the Torah, and as we remove or unwrap a garment, we get a better understanding and a more intimate understanding of who Yahweh is. Now, on face value, the outer garment of this scripture basically means what it says, to be just in your court rulings. But Malek Dawid in Psalms chapter 92, verse 15, gives us a little bit clearer understanding of what this scripture is talking about. The scripture reads, "To show that Yah is upright, he is my rock, and there is no unrighteousness in him." So now we can see the congruence between Yah telling Yisrael to be just and righteous. That is because Yahweh is just and righteous. So we see the character of the Almighty throughout the Word. And that's how we need to, when we study the Torah, we need to look into the Torah to find out, how can I change my life to match up to be in the image and the likeness of the Father? And Yah, being merciful and good, showed us exactly how that's supposed to look through our Messiah, Mashiach Yahushua, because he was the manifestation of the Word of the Almighty. One of the scriptures that are as a principle and a scripture, but I like to think about it when I'm doing any kind of studying, is what Paul wrote in the book of Romans, chapter 7, verse 14. Speaking to his Talmudim, he says, "For we know that the Torah is spiritual." He said this was with conviction. He said it with assurance, saying, listen, others outside of here may not know what the Torah is, but we know that it is spiritual. So it's time for us as believers, as women, as the nation of Israel as a whole, to begin to unfold the Torah and get a glimpse of the spiritual realities of why the Torah was written and what do these principles and things mean to us today. When we start our first class, which is going to be called Bereshit, that will be loaded up shortly. That lesson is going to take us back to the beginning. But there's going to be a couple of tools that we need to have when we go through these classes. And I'm going to suggest with any Bible study that you have a good Bible. I'm not really in favor of any translation because that's what they are. They're just translations. I use the restoration scriptures. But if you're comfortable with KJV, you can go ahead and use that. I also tend to use sometimes the Peshitta, which gives us a Aramaic translation of the New Testament as well. I'm going to suggest with our studies that you also have an interlinear Bible because that breaks down word for word how words were translated. I'm also going to suggest that everyone get a excuse me, a Hebrew pictograph chart. And what that is basically the ancient Hebrew symbols of the letters of the Hebrew alphabet. And next time we'll go into more of why that is of importance. I'm also going to suggest that you have Strong's Concordance and a good dictionary for defining words, because we want to make sure that we're understanding everything that we're reading and not assume anything. So that's my time for today. I'm looking forward to this study, and I pray that Yahweh can continue to lead and grow Yisrael to become Echad, one. Until next time, my sisters, Shalom.